Yeah, right there. All right. We can swing it now.
Hello there, I'm Michelle McManus. Welcome to the afternoon show live on BBC Radio Scotland. Coming up, I'm going to be hearing about the Scottish Ensemble's popular Concerts by Candlelight tour. I'll also be talking to Johnny McKnight, one of the busiest people in Panto. There's a full 3 that he's written on Scottish stages this season, and he's starring in and directing Aladdin in Stirling. Can't wait for that chat. Up for discussion in December's audiobook group is Scottish favourite Poor Things by Alistair Gray. And Cher, yay, we love her, has released our first ever Christmas album. We've got some friendly elves, well, I say else, actually, I mean, comedian Craig Kelly, designer Kiaz Trepty to listen for us and report back. But before any of that, it's time to add the next track to our monthly mixtape. Now, yesterday, Nicola closed the show with Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan, suggested by listener Rory Mack. So, of course, it then turns to me to follow on from that. And if you were listening last week, I did promise, or some of you may say threaten, that I'd be doing my best to shoehorn the Christmas songs in all the way through December, because it is December, so it is the law. You have to play Christmas songs, let's be honest. So today, I thought, right, we had Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan. I'm going to go for a heavenly number, singing angels and all that jazz. Here is a wee bit of Boney M. Child. So that's it. I'm after a song that links to that. Now, look, I'll be honest with you, right? It doesn't have to be Christmassy, although you know you're going to get double points if it is. It could be anything to do with the song title, a connection to the band, a fun fact, any link you like. Send me your ideas and we'll pick one to play at the end of the show. And you know how to get in touch. You can email the afternoon show at bbc.co.uk. You can find us on social media at BBC Radio Scot, or you can text me on 80295. Don't forget, you can also send a message via WhatsApp on 08085 92 95 00. Right. During the dark and chilly December nights, amidst the festive build-up, Scottish Ensemble are inviting audiences all over the country to step inside one of our many beautiful and awe-inspiring churches and cathedrals to enjoy a moment of stillness and contemplation at one of their concerts by candlelight. The tour will take in Aberdeen, Inverness, Dundee, Perth, Edinburgh and Glasgow, and is now a staple of the festive calendar. The concerts all feature a range of compositions, all illuminated by the warm glow of candlelight. Before we hear more about it, let's hear a wee sample from last year's show, recorded at Greyfriars Kirk in Edinburgh. Oh, how good. How festive Carol of the Bells is performed at the Concerts by Candlelight by Scottish Ensemble. And here to tell me about this year's concerts are composer David Fennessy, who has written a new piece for this year's tour, and cellist Alison Lawrence, a long-standing member of the Scottish Ensemble. Welcome to you both.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, welcome to you both. Hello, David. Hello, Alison. Alison, this is really exciting. I mean, tell me a little bit about this week of concerts. It kind of starts tomorrow night, doesn't it?
It does, yes. The first venue, Aberdeen, tomorrow night. Beautiful St Macca's Cathedral.
Yeah. What can people expect from the show tomorrow night?
Well, it's a lot of reflective music, expressive and contemplative. It's a beautiful atmosphere with the candles. It's a lovely 75-minute, no interval, just plays through. So it's a good family thing. I'll just put in there that under 16s are free. So yes, a
get the Waynes along.
thing.
Get the Waynes along
Yes.
for free. Talk to me about the setting as well, because this is a huge part of it, as well as the gorgeous music. The setting really plays its part.
Yes, it's dimmed lighting, so lots of candelabras with lots of candles. And because we play off iPads, we can see the music in darker settings. It works very well.
I have to say, a couple of months ago, actually, I think it was maybe in the summer, I went along to see, it was a kind of candlelit concert. It was a music by Ludovico Einaudi, and my husband and I kind of booked it. We're like, oh, we'll get a night away with the kids, we'll go and see something. And I cried throughout the whole thing because I think it was just a mixture, Alison, of this beautiful music and the setting with the candlelight. Do you often, I know you're so busy concentrating playing, but do you get a chance to really look out and just see the audience reaction and how moved they are by it?
You do. And that's what I love about performing live, is that you see the reactions of the audience and how moved they are, and we get to speak to them afterwards. We're always there to chat to. So to feel the effect it's had on people is what makes our job worthwhile.
Absolutely, to get that instant reaction. David, I want to bring you in because you were asked to create a piece for this year's concert, which, congratulations, by the way, what an honour. What were you given as a brief?
Well, it's a slightly strange commission in the way that it's in two halves. So I was commissioned to write a piece for the Concerts by Candlelight, but also their summer counterpart for next summer, which is the second half of the piece, which I actually haven't written yet. So
No pressure, David.
it's
You
a
might want to
strange
get a
thing
move on.
it's to have a piece with an interval of 6 months in the middle
Yeah.
is quite strange. So I'm presenting a kind of tantalizing half a piece, and I knew about the concerts, and they have that special setting, and I knew that they would be in these really special places with a really long reverberation and a special kind of stillness about them. And I've really entered into that. I don't want to give too much away, but the ensemble are split up so that some of them you can't even see actually on the stage. So there's a kind of there's a hint or a kind of a waft of music coming from somewhere far off in the distance.
And it must have been, I mean, a real challenge, I think, David, but it must have been so much fun to write too.
Well, if you get given the keys to a Ferrari, you don't drive it around at 5 miles an hour. So Scottish Ensemble are amazing players. They really are, a kind of world-class string ensemble. So when you get to write as a composer for players like that, you really want to try and stretch them in a way that keeps it interesting for them, but then is also engaging and hopefully moving for the listeners too. So I hope I've done my part in that.
Listen, I'm sure you have, but I want to talk about your part a wee bit more. Where did you get your inspiration? It's called Rain One.
Yeah.
Is there a clue? I mean, obviously I'm thinking rain, well, that's Scotland summed up in one word, but what was your inspiration for it?
Well, it's funny. It's called Rain 1 and 2, but I was really thinking about, in a way, I'd written actually this piece towards the tail end of summer, trying to imagine cold winters in a cathedral. And in a way, it's partly about that. In fact, some of the music that I reference in this piece is a little kind of hint of some of Vivaldi's music from summer. And I had started to think in a very kind of almost cosmic way about the Earth traveling around the sun, and how, and when we get to 6 months apart, that the Earth is actually 122 million miles away from where it was, and that we're actually still here. So I'm trying to imagine summer from the point of view of winter, and then when I write the summer piece, I'll be doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's trying to imagine being in separate places, but at the same time, so the audience are kind of stuck in the middle in a kind of a limbo between these two states of a kind of really warm music, and then there's something maybe a little bit more cold and austere.
I love the teaser trailer for what's to come, by the way. Thank you.
Yes, me too. I'm trying to help myself write the second part by typing.
Just listen back to this on BBC Sounds. Listen to every word you're saying. You're like, there it is, the inspiration. Alison, I want to talk about the ensemble, because how many of you are going to be performing on the night, on the tour?
Well, we've got some guests with us from the RCS, the Conservatoire, who we've played with in a side-by-side project, and we've chosen 3 of them to come and join us for this. So as well as 11 ensembles, there are 3 of them.
And are you all kind of long-standing members? Do you all know each other really well? Because I suppose there's got to be a lot of trust when you're performing as a group like this.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, I'm giving my age away, but I've been playing now for 30 years. Sharp intake. Since you were 10.
Well done, David. Well done.
So, and there are a few players that have been in nearly as long. So, yeah, we know each other very well.
And talk to me then. I want to. I'm always really interested, because with these different venues, especially with the nature of the venues that you're playing in, the acoustics of the churches are all going to be very different. From moving about, depending on and where you go. I was singing in the City Chambers last night and forgot about the acoustics inside Glasgow City Chambers, and my vocal was like bouncing back and slapping me about the chops by the time I'd even got to the second line. And I'm like, how do you adapt to that? Because not every venue is the same, and it will present challenges, I'm sure.
Yes, I mean, most of these cathedrals and churches do react quite similarly because of the resonance, and so a lot of the music chosen lends itself to these venues, and the piece that Dave's written, lends itself to that space. So hopefully we adapt quite quickly now, because we know what to expect from them.
Yeah. Listen, it's a joy to speak to you both. I know that the audiences are in for such a treat. They are hugely popular nights, and for very, very good reason. Thank you so much for coming on to chat about it, both of you, Alison Lawrence and David Fennessy.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Thank you. And if you fancy an evening of music to comfort the soul and bolster the spirit, then the Scottish Ensemble's Concerts by Candlelight will start off tomorrow night at St Macarius Cathedral in Aberdeen, and then they're in Inverness Cathedral on Friday, Dundee Parish Church on Saturday, going on to Perth, Edinburgh and Glasgow next week. And you can find a link with info about the venues and dates on the Afternoon Show webpage. Right, let's get on with the music now, and a song that's been announced as the most streamed of 2020.
Winter on BBC Radio Scotland.
A time for reflection and sharing with family and friends.
The Black Stuff's really begun to come down in significant quantities.
A place for news and views.
How do you sum up a year in politics?
With a seasonal soundtrack.
The best musical praises ever.
And loads of Christmas cheer. It's a really, really good story.
Is it the first account of an office Christmas party?
It is, yes.
Wow.
I'll look out for the first star in the sky as the symbol of Jesus being born.
Listen this winter on BBC Sounds.
Ho, ho, ho! Oh, what a season he is having!
It all begins when you play BBC Radio Scotland.
Secret, secret, secret. Song, song, song.
Classic song, and all you have to do is guess what it is. I'll play the full track before the end of the show, but there'll be plenty of clues before then. And if you're ready, here is clue number 1. Today's secret song comes straight from a Fate. And to give you a further clue, here's a wee teeny tiny snippet of the song. Do you think you know what it is? Get in touch if you think you know the answer. You can text on 80295. You can email the afternoon show at bbc.co.uk, or you can WhatsApp message or voice note 08085 92 95 00. We'll play the song in full just before the end of the show with plenty more clues before then. Right, coming up after the news, I'll be hearing all about the Panto at Stirling's McRoberts Art Centre, and we'll have our December audio book group discussing Alistair Gray's Poor Things. The Darkness are on tour just now. They were in Edinburgh yesterday. Maybe you were there. And they'll be at the Barrowlands in Glasgow on Monday. Time for some headbanging.
Listen to the rhythm in my heart. There's a chance we can make it now. Let me look until the sun goes down. I believe in a think out loud.
McManus on BBC Radio Scotland.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Still to come today, a bit of Panto. Oh yes, there is. Plus our December audio book group. And we'll be going full on Christmas camp as we discuss Cher's new Christmas album. How fabulous. Let's get this hour of the show going. Maybe we've got a Peter Gabriel. We've got a Sledgehammer.
If you bring your
Peter Gabriel there with Sledgehammer, and actually Peter Gabriel's got a new album, I.O. It's his first album of new songs in 21 years. It's out now, and if you miss Nicola and her Tuesday reviewers talking about it on yesterday's show, don't worry, you can catch up with that on BBC Sounds. Right, I want you to picture the scene. You're looking out for Scottish pantos, wondering what's on, and then you read about a disco retelling of Aladdin and you're like, sold, that's the one for me. It's on at the McRoberts Art Centre in Stirling, and the man behind it, who also plays the Dame Widow McTwank, is on the line, and we better not keep him waiting long, as he really does appear to be the busiest man in Pantoland. Johnny McKnight has not only written and directed this disco inferno of a show, he's also written Snow White and the Seven Moors for Oran Moore, and also he's got Agonies of Scrooge on at the Tron in Glasgow. And joining Johnny for us today is Betty Valencia, who plays the title role of Widow McTwank's daughter Aladdin in the pantomime, which is currently on at the McRoberts Art Centre in Stirling. Welcome to you both. Great to have you on the show.
Hi,
Hello.
Michelle. How are you doing?
Hi, guys. Hi, Betty. Hi, Johnny. Listen, it's a joy, Johnny. I have probably got to say up front before I properly fangirl, I am a huge fan. I come and see all the stuff that you do, and it's so lovely to have you on the show. You're so wonderful.
Oh, cheers, Michelle. That's lovely. Thanks for that. That will make my head swell up a bit for the night time. So,
listen, you deserve it, Betty. It's also lovely to have you on too. I'm awful sorry, my darling. I started off with that, and Betty's like, "Cheers, thanks." I'm sitting here as well.
She's just stabbed me with a fork in the leg. It's a bit much, but...
Betty, no, honestly, great to have you both. I want to talk to you about this particular one, obviously, Aladdin. It sounds amazing, Johnny, but can I set the scene for us? I believe the panto's set in the forgotten town of Discotopia.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's set in Stirling, Stella, and this is Discotopia, which is basically just an excuse, Michelle, so that towards the end we get to have a big disco medley. It's a big fight between good and evil. So get in those classic tunes that, that will get everybody onto the dance floor, hopefully.
Which is obviously what everyone wants at Panto, right? It's the nostalgia, it's the escapism that everyone needs at Christmas. Betty, how did you feel seeing the script for the first time? You must have been really excited.
Oh, I was absolutely thrilled. I mean, to be playing Aladdin as a girl was fantastic, and Johnny always writes a fantastic script, and I think especially for his female characters, he always gives them so much scope to do just as much as any male character on the stage would, which in Panto I know sometimes isn't always traditional, so I love doing a Johnny McKnight Panto, and this one is one of his best, I would say.
That's really the fork in her leg.
£20 in your back bin there, Betty, for sure.
Exactly.
But Betty, you make a really good point, right? And I know this is exactly what Johnny does, but really empowering, I think, for a woman to have the lead role in this and playing Aladdin too. And I know what you're saying, there can be a lot of that, and kind of the swapping the roles within Panto. But to take on the role of Aladdin, it must be, I mean, the kids must love it as well, right?
They do. They absolutely do, because we don't they only find out that Aladdin is a girl when they see me and I say my name's Aladdin. And I think it's just so lovely to see the kids realising that this is a story that can be played by anyone, and that anyone could go on a big adventure and make their own choices, do the things that they want to do in the same way that Aladdin does in the show. So yeah, it's brilliant. I love it.
Absolutely not gender specific. That's the way it should be. Johnny, you must have had a lot of fun with this. I mean, you're talking about this big kind of finale at the end with the disco songs. Did you just have a night sitting down with the Spotify playlist on going, right, what are we going to include in this show?
Michelle, I'm not even going to lie. I didn't even need the Spotify playlist. I keep saying Panto's the best time to live your fantasy. So I get to take Padam Badam Bikaili, One Night Only for Dreamgirls, and a bit of Enough Is Enough, Barbara Streisand, Donna Summer. I mean, that's just a Friday night out for me normally. The only difference is people get to see it and I'm sober. Do you know what I mean?
As if you couldn't sell the Panto to us anymore. That's just done it with the song choices. Johnny, I need to talk to you about the Stirling Panto because you go way back, don't you?
Aye. It's quite, I think this has been, in terms of writing it, I've been writing it now since 2007, but my first time on stage was 2005 at McRoberts. So 18 years it's been, whether I've been on stage or just writing it or writing, directing, but it's about 18 years now, which is quite terrifying considering I'm only 26, you know what I mean? But it is that thing of it's lovely because you know, also up here at McRobert, we have a big cast with 32 young company in it who are usually aged anywhere between 9 and 17. And it's actually lovely because I've been here for that long that you meet people who are like 32 and they're like, do you remember me? I was in, Aladdin back in 2005 and they're now doing acting or some of them a teleproducer, one of them is a teleproducer and stuff like that. So you go, it's sort of lovely that you, and even watching it into the audience, you see families literally grow up. And that's the amazing thing about Panto, is that it's such sort of families' traditions, and they come out every year and, you know, get to be part of their Christmas. It's sort of, you know, I don't have a lot of time for people who are a bit snobbish about Panto just because you go, I think it's a right gift that you get to give folk their Christmas night out, and on a lot of people's first time they get to go to the theatre, and no two shows are ever the same, ever. Like, for good or for bad, whatever that might be. But you go, it feels like it's a real gift, and it's something that I never get bored of. I mean, we've sang that Mariah Carey every Panto here for about 19 years, and I still find myself knowing the words, Michelle, every time. And I'm never bored with singing it. Do you know what I mean? And then when you start singing, you go, oh, that feels like we're in Christmas time now, right? That's us new Christmas.
That's your starter's pistol. That's it off.
Totally. That's us off and running now. So no, it's great. I love it.
And do you know, Johnny, it's so true, because I did Panto for a few years as well, and you're right, it's like, it's the most incredible experience. I remember standing on stage, and it's so magical for the kids, and it's just these wee babies' faces. I mean, the fact that I played a mermaid and they believed I could ever have been a mermaid, that there sums up the magic of Panto. But it was such an honour, and it's such a hard graft as well, you know, like, I think there's so much work goes into it. Betty, how are you finding, I know that you have just kicked off, but do you have a lot of experience doing Panto before, or are you finding with the rehearsals quite tough going, and are you managing to keep yourself fighting fit for the performances?
Well, I've done Panto. I've done about 4 Pantos since graduating a few years ago, and this is my second one with Johnny at the helm. And I mean, Johnny always creates a wonderful rehearsal space, and this whole rehearsal process has just been a joy from start to finish, because we've got such a talented cast, but also such a given cast to just make space for each other and support each other. So the whole process has been really quite painless, which sometimes, as we know, in a rehearsal process isn't always the case. It's very technical and time consuming, but we've all had such an amazing time, and it's just continuing to go now that we're up and running as well. So yeah, we've been very lucky.
And Betty's also really good. She also teaches singing, so she looks after her voice, Michelle. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, something I definitely don't do, Betty. I'll need to come and see you.
Oh, I mean, literally, Michelle, on Sunday I sounded like Marge Simpson's sisters. Right? I'm not lying. It was, if anybody had filmed that show, I don't even know what was coming out my gob. It was no pretty anyway. It sounded like, but it is that thing of, and again, it's because we've got a great cast who are always really good at going to take the ginger shots, try warming up with our vocal straw, all that, you know what I mean? And you do need to look after yourself, like you know yourself, Michelle, having done it, you go, it is a bit relentless. You go, it's only the year where you go cock-canny with the drinking and Christmas celebrate 2 shows in Boxing Day. So Christmas isn't really Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Save yourself for January. That's sort of what happens.
Oh, the rap parties in January at the end were always amazing, actually, when you got to that final performance. I want to talk about the other cast, because this is a great cast that you guys have got alongside you. You've got Robbie Jack, who was Jacko and Gary Tank Commander, Amy Connigan, who some may know from Hollyoaks, and I know you starred alongside in Orphans, and Helen McAlpin, who appeared, you know, she's been in Scott Squad, Outlander, Waterloo Road. I mean, this is a great cast to be in. Do you get to just choose your mates, Johnny, and who you want to work with?
I mean, I always try to bring in new people. Like every year, I always try to make sure that try and bring in new folk and folk I've never worked with. But the likes of, say, Robbie and Helen have done quite a lot of years up here. And it's also just because, first of all, you know what you're going to get. Audiences love consistency, I think, is another thing as well. And it's also nice to always bring in, like, kind of fresh young bloods, because some of us are a wee bit older now, you know what I mean? But what I always try to do is you go, the great thing about working in Scotland, and it's a kind of privilege, is there's so much talent here. And certainly when I first started in Panto, I remember one of my first Pantos I acted in, it was 7 guys and 1 lassie. And then as soon as I got to direct Panto, the thing I realised really quickly is there's like triple the amount of talent, female talent in Scotland than anywhere else. So you go, you could cast a Panto 100 times over, because there's such a rich plethora of talented people. And I'm just really lucky, particularly this year, that we've got amazing talent across the board. And you're only as good as your weakest link. Do you know what I mean? As I always say, when you're casting something, I should be the worst person in the show, and then you've cast it right in terms of, and then you go, everybody else can carry the show, and you don't feel that it becomes an ensemble rather than You know what I mean? Like, you just want to be, and you want to also, you're spending so much time as a company together. You want to just really assemble the best company, and you want to have fun on stage. Like, you also want to have mischief. That's part of the part of Panto, I think. It's a bit I love anyways, when you start getting a wee carry on and playing with the audience and all that as well.
And I think there needs to be a lot of trust between you as well, because things do go wrong, and when the show's evolved, do you know what I mean? Where the show starts at the beginning is not where the show ends up. And if you know you've got, you know, folk like Betty and everyone on stage with you, that the show can evolve together as an ensemble, then that's half the battle.
100. I mean, we're saying that. All I will say is my lovely company, on the first day I slipped and fell and everyone just laughed at me on stage. Fell, went down, went fine after.
No sympathy. That's
No
terrible.
sympathy. And even better, stage management managed to film it. So that's great. I felt
You'll have that forever.
And then the day I came out for Padam Padam and the chair collapsed. So
that's Panto.
That's what it is. That's the joy, yeah.
I know. Well, listen, Betty, how was the performance this morning? Did you have all the kids in?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I think my favourite shows so far have been the school shows, just because they love it. And for some of them, it is their first time at the theatre. So getting to be that first experience for them, you can't replace it. It's beautiful. So yeah, they're lovely.
Well, listen, guys, we can't thank you enough for coming on to talk about it. I'll need to get myself over and see the one in Stirling as well. I'm going in to see the Tron. I always go to the Tron. A lovely Louise McCarthy there with Sally Reid.
Sensational. Wait till you see Louise in this. It's a sensational casting there, but Louise McCarthy. Wait till you see what she can do. She's
amazing. She used to live through the back for me, but she's just deserted me and moved, Johnny. So she's away.
Aye, that's her half.
That's her half. So she's left me behind. And I know you've got the Panto on at Oranmore with Snow White and the Seven Moors as well. Yeah. But it really is. It's such a joy to speak to you both, and I hope you have the best run. And I know Stirling are in for such a treat.
Oh,
thank
cheers,
you so
Michelle.
much.
So nice to speak to you today.
It really is. Okay, thank you so much. You can catch Betty, Johnny and the rest of the stellar cast of Aladdin at the McRoberts Arts Centre, Stirling, until Sunday 31st of December. And of course, the Agonies of Scrooge is on at the Tron Theatre until the Sunday the 7th of January, with Snow White and the Seven Moors at Oranmore until the 6th of January. If you've seen any of them, then let us know. Let me know what you think of them. They're always great shows by Johnny McKnight. And get in touch with any Panto recommendations too. You can do all that on 80295. So sorry, what's that, dear listener? We've just been talking about Panto, so that Michelle McManus is going to use it as an excuse to cram in another Christmas song, isn't she? You bet am.
They call me Backdoor Santa. I make my runs about the break of day. They call me Backdoor Santa. I make my runs about the break of day. Oh, oh, oh. I make all the little girls happy while the boys are out to play. Look at here. I ain't like old Saint Nick. He don't come but once a year. Oh, 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 oh. Once a year. But look at here, I come running with my presents every time you call me dear. Look at here, I keep some change in my pocket in case the children at home. I give them a few pennies so that we can be alone. I leave the back door open so if anybody smells a mouse, and with no scent I'll be in trouble. If ain't no chimney in the house, they call me Backdoor Santa. I make my runs about the break of day. Look at here. I make all the little girls happy while the boys are out to play. That's what they call me, Backdoor Santa. That's what they call me. They call me Backdoor Santa. That's what all the girls call me. That's what they call me. They call me Backdoor Santa. And I like them to call me that. They call me Backdoor Santa. And I like it.
Kelly Clarkson there hitting the high notes with Underneath the Tree.
Guiding you through.
December 10th is our final TV taping of 2023, and it's the biggest one yet. Join us for our annual Grind City Rumble featuring Warhorse, plus WWE Hall of Famer Handsome Jimmy Valiant. Advance tickets are available now at memphiswrestling.tv.
Right, we've been asking you to guess our secret song today on the afternoon show. We've already given you a clue. If you missed it, like Dave, who's messaged in saying, I believe in a thing called Michelle, couldn't make out the spoken clue. You were too quick for me. Dave, let me slow down for you. Here it is. Clue number 1. Today's secret song comes straight from a fete. F-E-T-E, straight from a fete. And let me give you a wee second hint. Before I do, I have to tell you, some of you have been getting it wrong. Linda putting up the Christmas lights, and a chilly Lockhart Head says, hi Michelle, today's secret song, Thunder in My Heart by Leo Sayer. I love that song, but sadly it's not, Linda. But fear not, here comes clue number 2. This will definitely help you. Clue 2, the song has a strong association with the most beautiful game. And here is that wee teeny tiny snippet again. You see, I know what it is because this is right up my alleyway. I love this kind of music. But do you get in touch? Text 80295. You can email the afternoon show at bbc.co.uk, or you can WhatsApp message or voice note 08085 92 95 00. Right, time to have a play of our afternoon show single of the week from Joe Goodall. It's
Saying all that you want, only me.
series of safe spaces is out now, which features our new single of the week, Self-Esteem. And Joe will be at the King Tut's supporting Quiet Houses on the 25th of January. Let's keep going with the music now from an absolute pop queen.
Get out the way.
course, is the voice of Elsa in Frozen and Elphaba in the original Broadway production of Wicked. And if you're a fan of that musical, you're going to be very excited. It's coming to Edinburgh next week, and we'll hopefully be catching up with some of the cast. Right, I'm after your ideas for which song to play at the end of today's show in the latest of our Afternoon Show monthly mixtape. Now, I started off the show with a Christmas song. Yes, it's December, I'm allowed. I went with Mary's Boy Child by Boney M. So I'm looking for you in any way to link that song. And we may just pick your suggestion to play at the end of the show today. And we get to add you to the December monthly mixtape. Some great suggestions coming in. Billy in Alloa, The Man with a Child in His Eyes. Oh, I like it. Mary's Boy Child to The Man with a Child in His Eyes. Kate Bush. Oh, any excuse to play a bit of Kate Bush in this show. I'm all over it. And Bobby Pollock Show, Michelle. Mary's Boy Child, Boney M, December 1978. The song reached number 1 in the UK singles charts, and number 5 in the same chart was this single, Rat Trap by the Boomtown Rats. Oh, lovely. I like the link there, Bobby. You've went that extra mile. Keep the suggestions coming, and we could be playing your song choice at the end of the show, and you get to show off to all your pals. They've been added to the December monthly mixtape here on the Afternoon Show on BBC Radio Scotland. So we're looking for you to link Mary's Boy Child by Boney M. It could be a Christmas song, by the way. I'm all up for playing another Christmas song, all over that. Or you can do what the guys have done and go down a different route with it. Whatever your suggestion, get in touch. You can text 80295. You can email the Afternoon Show at bbc.co.uk, and you can WhatsApp 08085 92 95 00. Right, you two are in the middle of a residency in Las Vegas just now. It's going so well. They've extended the run, which is based around songs on their 1991 album Achtung Baby, which includes this.
Chances, you won't be denied.
You two there with Even Better Than the Real Thing. Time now for the December edition of our afternoon show audio book group, and up for discussion this month is Poor Things by Alistair Gray, which has been made into a film directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. I hope I said that right, I don't think I did, who has also directed The Favourite and The Lobster and starring Emma Stone. And thanks to the film, which comes to UK cinemas in January, there's also a new audiobook version of it, so now is a good time to be talking about it. Joining me, of course, we've got our audiobook group regular Jamie McDonald and theatre director and writer Jen McGregor. The Poor Things was first published in 1992, and long before the movie world came calling, had many fans, especially in Scotland. It's a Frankenstein-esque tale of a young Victorian woman, Bella Baxter, who it turns out has a child's mind, literally, thanks to an experiment by Dr. Godwin Baxter. Free of social expectation, Bella is hungry to explore the world. The book takes the form of fictitious historical documents, including the autobiography of Archie McCandless, Bella's husband, and her contradiction of everything that he's written under her alias Victoria. It's a lot to take in. Here's a wee flavour.
The accompanying letter was even more perplexing. It was from Victoria McCandless, MD, widow of the author, telling the descendant who never existed that the book was full of lies. Here is part of it. By 1974, surviving members of the McCandless dynasty will have 2 grandfathers or 4 great-grandfathers and will easily laugh at the aberration of one. I cannot laugh at this book. I shudder at it, and thank the life force that my late husband had just this single copy printed and bound. I have burned the original manuscript, and would have burned this too, as he suggests. But alas, it is almost the only evidence left that the poor fool existed. He also paid a small fortune for it. I do not care what posterity thinks of it, as long as nobody now living connects it with me.
There you go, an extract from the audiobook of Poor Things, read by Russ Bain, who you can currently see on telly as Bobby Bain in Shetland. Jen and Jamie, welcome.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Jamie. Hi, Jen.
Hello.
Hi there. Listen, where do we get started with this, right? It's a hard concept to follow. I've watched the trailer and I've had a wee listen as well. But Jen, I want to come to you first, because not only had you read Poor Things before we asked you to listen to this, but this is literally one of your favourite books.
It's a book I've loved for a lot of years, yeah.
Why? What is it about the book that you just, keep going back to?
So I think growing up in Scotland, and particularly in Edinburgh, where the weather is determined to do all sorts of atmospheric and gothic things, I've had a predilection for gothic fiction for most of my life. And I really love the way that Gray taps into Scotland's really rich tradition of that. So it's tapping all sorts of other books that I love. And it's just a really, really interesting story about self-creation, the attempt to create and shape another person, the sort of ethics and responsibilities of that. And I love a narrative where you're not entirely sure what's what and who you can trust.
Yeah, that was the one thing, wasn't it? Because, it's just a book of contradictions really going all the way through it. It's also quite a hard book to describe, Jen, I think, as well. I mean, that was actually pretty well described the way you put it. So you've done a better job than me, because there's so much going on, right? And it is so multi-layered.
It really is. Because obviously you've got multiple different characters, and you've got Alistair Gray himself sort of inserting himself into the narrative as the editor of these papers that have been found, which again, harks back to things like the Flashman papers and stuff like that, where you're deliberately being, put the teeth in and try again, deliberately being given something to mistrust, and where you have to make decisions about whether you believe anything that's being said to you. It's gorgeous.
Jamie, what about you? How did you find this?
I struggled with it to the point, I was thinking, is Alice, what is going on here? So they find this journal and this contradicting letter, and it's done in such a way. I did quickly Google just to make sure, had that actually been found? So I was duped from the start. Yes. And then I like my zombies to go mental. If I'd come to that book like Jen has, it's just maybe come upon it and read it and thought, oh, this is nice. But I was sold it as a kind of Kelvin Grove Frankenstein. I was waiting for a haggard Robert De Niro to be ripping up turnips and stuff. But no, I got this kind of beautiful child-minded lady being taken around the world and having big discussions with people. It's it's a book of discourse and ideas, and and then you get this contradicting letter at the end. I like to know, was she a zombie? or was she not? Don't say, well, what did you think? I don't want to think after a book. I want that to be it. You know, I don't want to, you know,
You want
say,
a definitive answer,
you could argue
Jamie.
the toss. Oh, you could argue the toss. No, was she a zombie?
I know you want a definitive answer, don't you? But that's the question.
I mean, it's really funny and it's well written and stuff, but I think I went into it expecting something and was given something totally different. You know, it's very clever and you know, it mentions Canberra slang twice where I'm from, and not many books do that, so that's a tick. But it's very wise.
I mean, yes, I understand what you're saying, Jamie, right? Sometimes you're just
Do you?
like,
Because I don't.
No, I do, because you're just like, let's cut through it all. Let's just give me some facts here. What actually happened? What's going on? What happened to her in her past? I get it. Jen, do you have any sympathy for Jamie's point of view? And do you want to try and convince him otherwise?
I get it, and that's definitely what I want from some books, but the thing I love about Gray is that he's got a real capacity to think ahead to what you're going to want and what you're going to expect from the book that he's written, and then just to completely thwart it and give you something totally left field. And I think that's my favourite thing about I love that it's very difficult to predict Gray because he's already predicted not only himself but your response to it. And he writes responses to that response before you've even had it. So it's really a book for if you're in the mood for something that is naughty in the Knotty sense rather than naughty, although one could argue that with Bella as well, depending on whose narrative you believe.
Yes.
But yeah, I love a book that you can argue with people about afterwards. I love that you can have different points of views on who you should believe, that you can absolutely have that discussion. And for me, that's what makes a book live in my head for a long time afterwards.
Right, so for folk listening, we don't want to give too much away, right? But let's get into this book a wee bit. Right, so talk to me about Bella. Jamie, Jamie, I'm sorry to come to you again, because you're just like, don't ask me, I don't know. But how,
I'm ready.
from what you took from this book, tell us about Bella. What can you describe her?
Well, of course I can describe Bella, Michelle. So, what happens? You're at Glasgow Medical School in the late 1800s, around the kind of Gothic times. It's all very dark, all very Glasgow. It's set in Park Circus. You've got a guy called Godwin Baxter, who's the son of a very well-renowned surgeon who was into kind of reanimation, right? Think Frankenstein, right? Putting an electric current through somebody and making them come back to life. And he, quite nicely, it's a lovely hobby. He kind of hovers around looking for drowned people from the Clyde. And then he picks them up. And Bella was a lady who'd committed suicide by throwing herself into the Clyde while she was 8 months pregnant. And she's fished out the Clyde. Godwin somehow gets the corpse and uses the fetus's brain, whaps that into the skull of Belle, fires some electricity through it, and boom, you have basically a child woman or a baby woman who is, again, you know, she's not psychotic or anything. She is a canvas for then the author to bounce humanity's failings off, and we re-educate a baby child into a very morally aware and progressive woman, beast, zombie thing.
There you go, Jamie. Thanks very much. I'm glad I came to you for that. There, we're finishing off with the beast zombie thing at the end. Jen, there's, you know, Jamie mentioned Godwin Baxter there, her creator, but there's 3 key men in her life when it comes to this book. Talk to me about Archie and Duncan as well.
So Archie's an interesting figure. Archie McCandless is a medical doctor who comes from a working class background, so he is somewhat ostracised by his peers at medical school, and you could take the view that he sort of latches on to Godwin Baxter and the work that he's doing as an entree into that world, and that he latches on to Bella for potentially a number of different reasons. I think partly because it's quite difficult not to succumb to the charisma of someone who's quite as charismatic as Bella is painted. Which is certainly something that Duncan Wedderburn also finds. Duncan Wedderburn is the man that Bella decides to gallivant around the world with on this kind
of cruise, isn't it?
I would say lengthy sexcapade.
Well, you go for that, Jen. I was just thinking about a cruise there. You just
that's my type of cruise.
Yeah. And Jamie's like, where does sign up?
She thoroughly wears this man out. So he starts off kind of infatuated, at least in a physical sense, with her. And by the end of it, he is in an asylum declaring her to be the whore of Babylon. Like, he gets thoroughly, spoilers by the way, sorry, he gets thoroughly used up by this woman.
But then he does a contrary account.
He
and
does.
That again is the pulls the rug
It's
against.
full
like,
of that in this book,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Nobody, everyone's got something to say back to what the other person said.
Absolutely.
Again, leaving you guessing and like again on sugary ground. It's like
Jamie, you don't know where you're coming or going.
No.
I
Ended up like a
understand.
zombie child myself.
Do you feel, Jen, having read it so many times, do you feel the audiobook made you think about any elements differently from this book, having actually listened to it?
I think there's something always interesting in listening to a book that you know well, because the pacing is always different and there are always slightly different things that the narrator will choose to emphasise. There are bits that your brain's perhaps skimmed over a little bit that will suddenly land differently. And I thought it was very well narrated and very nicely paced. So, yeah, I think it doesn't completely reform what I think about the book, but it does bring me back to it with, I would say fresh eyes, but I think fresh ears is probably more appropriate.
It's added yet another level.
another level in this already multi-layered what's going on book for you, Jamie. Jamie, I don't know, Jamie, would you recommend? I mean, I think there's a lot of positives in it. Would you recommend it?
I mean, I think if you like Alistair Gray, so if you've read Lanark, you'll like it. I struggled with Lanark as well. Oh, darling, I struggle with Gray, you see. But I mean, it's very well written. It's crazy book. Don't go in expecting Psycho Zombie Killer because you're not going to get it. You're going to get discourse.
Unless that's the narrative that we haven't had yet, Jamie.
That's another letter.
The movie's coming out in January 12th, isn't it, with Emma Stone? You never know. Jamie Hollywood might have given it its own take on it. We'll need to wait and see what happens there. Guys, listen, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. A great review there with Jen McGregor and Jamie McDonald. The audiobook of Poor Things is available now, read by Catherine Drysdale and Russ Bain, and the film, as we mentioned, is in cinemas from the 12th of January. Right, lots still coming up on the show, but let's get a bit more music before the 3 o'clock news. Callum Beattie has a load of live dates.
Drove around my hometown, listening to songs that can't be this old. That Blockbuster's a dollar store now. Funny how this feels like 7 lifetimes ago. You can go back there but never really be back home. You can go back there but never really be back home. Unpacking all the good, the bad, the innocence and drama of surviving hurt, giving up on karma. But when you polish all the rough parts and the trauma, you're left with a handsome nostalgia. Corner booth with my best friend, where he dared me to ask her to prom, knowing she'd say no, but she proved me wrong. Funny how little things were so big back then, and I knew everything except who I am. And I knew everything except who I am. unpacking all the good, the bad, the innocence and drama of surviving hurt, giving up on karma. But when you polish all the rough parts and the trauma, you're left with a painted over mural downtown, dusty boxes at my parents' house, empty parking lots where we hung out. If these photographs could tell out loud the things that never happened, friends I got in fights with, the church that I grew up in, and bonds that just left bruises. Unpacking all the good, the bad, the innocence and drama of surviving hurt, giving up on karma. But when you polish all the rough parts and the trauma, you're left with a handsome nostalgia.
Time for another secret song clue. I've already given you a couple. Yes, I have. Clue number 1. Today's secret song comes straight from a fete. And clue number 2, the song has a strong association with the most beautiful game. Loads of you get in touch, I have to say. Another wrong answers come in. Hi, Michelle. Is it True Faith by New Order? You cheer us up every time you're on the radio. From Tam and Amanda in Cold Strathmore. Tam and Amanda, thank you so much. That's so lovely. And I'm so sorry I've got to tell you that it's wrong. But don't worry, here is another wee clue. I'm sure this will help you both. Clue number 3, this artist's boyfriend is broke and opinionated. And because we love you, here's a slightly easier teeny tiny snippet. Oh, come on, get the mood rings out and the satin shirts. You know what it is now, don't you? Keep the guesses coming in. You can text 80295. You can email us at theafternoonshow@bbc.co.uk, or you can WhatsApp message or voice note 08085 92 95 00. Still to come this week's Spotlight, I'll be talking to an artist inspired by Scottish wildflowers, and we'll be talking about that Cher Christmas album. How fabulous. But taking us to the news at 3, it's a 90s banger from an act who have been announced